A recent cyber attack on Dine in Manchester, New Hampshire, prevented people from accessing some of the world's busiest websites, including Twitter, Spotify, Amazon, and the New York Times. And the attackers remotely accessed household devices to do it. Cybersecurity expert John Burton of NPI is here to explain and give us advice on how to secure devices in your own home. John, we like you because you take the complex and you make it easy to understand. So we're going to start with, what is Dine?
Sure. Dine is one of the many companies that are out there that help you navigate the Internet. The Internet is based on numbers, and most people can't remember numbers very well. It's easy to remember the word Google or the word Twitter, and we can just type those into our computer. What a company like Dine does is turns our words into numbers and lets us get to the right place on the Internet.
All right. Talk about a domain name server and what role it plays.
Yeah. So the domain name servers are at a place like Dine, and they're all over on the Internet. And its function is to take those words and turn it into numbers and then get us to the right location when we're searching for things.
All right, we're going to bring a diagram up on the screen, I believe, and we're talking about a diagram found on the blog Hacking Simpler. It shows a botnet. What is a botnet?
Yeah, botnet. Botnet is short for robot network. Okay, so I can take cyber hacking tools and I can plant those on devices all over the world as long as they're to be found on the Internet. And so once I find these devices, I can put my software on there if they're not secure. For example, if somebody leaves the default password, I might know, well, every Cisco device uses this default password. Nobody changed it. I can come on in and I plant my software, and suddenly it does what I want it to do rather than what you want it to do.
Scary stuff. So, John, Eva McKend and I were on iPads, we're on smartphones, we're on computers all day long. People at home probably know different. How do we know if our devices have been attacked?
Yeah, it can be very difficult because these kinds of software sit dormant for a long period of time until the master controller says, okay, now everybody wake up and do what I say, which usually is attack something. So you would look at your device and it looks totally normal, works like usual, but if you were around when they turn the mode on to start attacking, you would see it doing things that you're not asking it to. The lights flash at once when you're doing nothing would be a sign that it has been compromised. But again, this is very difficult to determine on your own. If you go into the settings, you might see some settings have been adjusted and you didn't do it, so that would be another sign.
Crazy to even think that this is happening, and I'm glancing at my sheet because I want to get this right, but we're looking at another diagram by rivalhost.com that shows how a distributed denial of services attacks works. A bit of a mouthful there, but you can break this down, what we're looking at here.
Yeah, I like to use the analogy. It's like if I wanted to bother you from using your phone, I could have all my friends call your number incessantly to a point where no one could get through because it's always busy. That's what goes on with the denial service. Once they take over these devices, they can say, all right, now everybody talk to Dine DNS in this case, quickly continue to request services. It's busy declining all those services, but meanwhile, the normal person, the one that wants to really come in and go to Amazon, it looks like it's not working. It's either really slow or it just doesn't work at all.
So help keep us from getting completely overwhelmed here. What do we need to know? What should we do with our own devices?
The important thing to know is this is just the beginning, unfortunately, because as we all buy more and more things like our Echo or our thermostats or whatever you're buying at home, there's more things that could be compromised. The critical thing is when you take it out of the box, change the default password to something that's unique, something that's going to be hard for them to replicate or remember. Don't use your normal password if you have one that you commonly use, because they might get that some other way. So you know, come up with a unique, complex password, and keep that somewhere so you can use it again, but don't leave the default. That'd be number one. And then number two is you may get notified by the manufacturer. Register it, make sure it's registered, and they may notify you saying, hey, there's a security update because we found a flaw that the bad guys could perhaps exploit. If there is a security update, apply it. Apply it quickly. Don't wait, because those kinds of holes are exploited quickly.
John Burton, making the complex simple for us to understand. I appreciate you for being here and walking us through this. And if people need to watch this back again, we'll be up on our website in just a little bit. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Eva?
Tomorrow on the 30, chainsaw safety. Almost 40% of Vermonters use wood heat, so we're talking safety as people cut wood for the winter. Brian Sullivan is with Burlington Parks and Rec, and he's bringing a chainsaw, and the latest safety gear. So be sure to join us tomorrow at 5:30 for the 30. Who has that segment? I hope
Who wants to do it, you or me? I'll do it.
No.
All right, we will see you at 11 o'clock. Time for the Channel 3 News at 6 with Darren and Kristen.
Run a few chainsaws there, Eva? Not so much, I gather. A sneak peek at the historic stone hut on top of Mount Mansfield, rebuilt after it burned down.
Plus, obit of an addict, a family's heartbreak after losing a loved one to an overdose. We have our special report up next.